नमो बुद्धाय। नमो तस्स भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स। नमो तस्स भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स। नमो तस्स भगवतो अरहतो सम्मा सम्बुद्धस्स। बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि, धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि, संघं शरणं गच्छामि, तुदियम्पि बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि, तुदियम्पि धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि, तुदियम्पि संघं शरणं गच्छामि, तदियम्पि बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि, तदियम्पि धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि, तदियम्पि संघं शरणं गच्छामि। पानातिपाता वेरमणि सिक्खापदं समादियामि, अदिन्नदाना वेरमणि सिक्खापदं समादियामि, कामेषु मिच्छसारा वेरमणि सिक्खापदं समादियामि, मूसावादा वेरमणि सिक्खापदं समादियामि, सुरामेरय मज्जपमा तट्टाना वेरमणि सिक्खापदं समादियामि। साधु साधु
साधु साधु।
साधु। नमो बुद्धाय।
Namo Buddha. Jai Bhim. Thank you, teacher.
Thank you, Pandit.
So today we'll start with we already started book 2 and two chapters of first part we have finished, chapter 1 and chapter 2. Chapter 3 of part 1 we have to continue with. This is the 2 type of conversion.
Bante, kindly say the page number, Bante.
Page number, it is 114. I don't know, in different books there are different page numbers.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but you can open it with the book. Okay, book 2.
Book 2.
And the first part, 3rd chapter.
Okay.
2 types of conversion.
Okay, Bante.
So, here talking about the conversion, we can see that Buddha's time there were 2 types of conversions.
Okay, Bante.
One was for the Sangha and the other was for the layperson.
Okay, Bante.
For the Sangha it was the order of Bhikku and Bhikkhunis, whereas for the layperson it was Upasaka and Upasakas.
Okay, Bante.
Here the Buddha clearly points out 4 differences between the Bhikku Bhikkhuni Sangha and the Upasak Upasikas.
Yes, Bante. Bante.
Where it is said that Upasak Upasikas are the householders, means they can live a family life, whereas the Bhikku and Bhikkhuni are the one who are wanderers and homeless wanderers because they don't have any home for them. They can't stay at one place, they have to move from one place to another. As we all know about Charatta Bhikkave Charikam Bahujana Hitaya Bahujan Sukhaya, means you have to move from one place to another for the betterment of the people from one place to another.
Yes, Bante, kindly say that title, Bante, topic name, Bante.
Two types of conversions.
Topic names are two type of conversion. Okay.
The name is only two types of conversions. Okay?
Okay, Bante.
I think you did not get it.
Yes, Bante.
Book 2 you find,
Okay, Bante.
and book 2 title is Buddha and his Visad Yoga, first part.
First part. Okay, Bante.
Book 2 is Campaign of Conversions.
Yes, Buddha and his Vishat Yoga.
Yes.
Thank you, Bante.
That is the first part, of which we have finished to preach or not to preach the first chapter.
Okay, Bante.
Second chapter we had finished proclamation of good news by Brahma Sahapati. And third we are going through.
Okay, Bante.
Okay?
Okay,
Found
Bante.
it? Found it,
Yes,
Bharti?
Yes, Bante.
Okay. Okay. So we were talking about the differences. That is the first difference, very important difference is Upasaka and Upasikas are living in a family. They are householders. Whereas Bhikku and Bhikkhunis are the homeless wanderers, means they don't have their own house and they have to move from one place to another. The second one is they both have rules. Some certain rules which has to be followed, but the rules have some differences. For Bhikku and Bhikkhunis, it is the vows. We can say that is the oath. Whereas Upasakas and Upasikas, they are the precepts. Precepts, what we say as Panchashil. They are the precepts and they must be observed to the best of his ability. Means they have to try their best. Slowly they have to change themselves to observe this Panchashil. Obviously, that is also a crime as we talk of yachana, the request, what we do in before taking Trisham Panchashil, where it is said that it is also a crime and it is punished under the Indian law, that is the IPC. Whereas for Bhikku and Bhikkhunis, it is punished under IPC plus the Patimokya, means two of them is included. Two rules are to be followed by that. So, the Upasak Upasika has to try to follow the precepts. But for Bhikku, if they do not, then they are punished. Maybe it is not reported under the law of India, but if it is brought in front of the Sangha, Patimukya, the Sangha has the right to punish them. Now, the third point is Upasaka can have property because they are living as a householders. So, they have to take care of the family, and to take care of the family, they should have the property to maintain their life and to live a good life. Whereas Bhikku and Bhikkhunis cannot have property because their care is to be taken by the Upasakas and Upasikas. They cannot have their own house, they cannot have any other property, movable or immovable, no kind of property they can have. They only have the property, what we say, it's not a property, but the things which are for their daily needs, like robes, a bowl to have food in it, and the daily need things like brush, paste, blade, or whatever it is, which we need. Without that, we cannot live. So, these are the things they should have it. Even the movable property like money, they should not have. But the rule of India is not a Buddhist country, so they are not given free access to travel. That means they have to pay for it. So, according to the situation, the Bhikku and Bhikkhunis can have money to travel, or else the Upasak and Upasika has to make arrangements for that travel. Very clear it is. They can't store it. They can't have something of their own which can be used for in the future. The fourth point is, to become a Upasak and Upasikas, there was no ceremony. As according to the Buddha, there was no ceremony, because people used to come to Buddha and directly used to say that they want to take refuge in Buddha, and accordingly Buddha used to accept it and they used to become the Upasakas or Upasikas. But nowadays, if we compare from that time, we find here Baba Sahib Ambedkar has given us another way of becoming Upasak and Upasikas. Actually, this is also somewhat different, where we can say lay people and Upasak Upasikas. Lay people, those who follow Buddhism, and becoming Upasak Upasikas of Buddhism is different, but it is not differentiated. People yet don't know the difference between the lay people and the Upasak Upasikas. So yeah, there was no ceremony, but now there is a ceremony. As we say, we take 22 oaths given by Dr. Baba Sahib Ambedkar. Because here, Baba Sahib was very clear in saying that taking this 22 oath means you are leaving whatever impurities there were in your mind, whatever superstition was there in your mind, whatever you were believing before which was not natural, even which it was not for the benefit of the people, they have to leave it. That was one thing. And later, after purifying the mind, we have to take Buddhism and understand what the Buddha's teachings are. And for that, there has to be a ceremony kind of thing, not as such big as ceremony what we say, but still 22 oaths are to be, now people are taking in arranging the ceremony or something like that. Whereas for Bhikku and Bhikkhuni, now again here there is a difference between lay people and Upasak Upasikas, in the same way there is a difference between Samneri and Bhikku Bhikkhuni. So, to become a Bhikku or Bhikkhuni, there is another one step when Bhikku Bhikkhunis become Samnera or Samneris. That is, they take the robe, but they cannot become a Bhikku or Bhikkhuni unless they fully study the teachings of Buddha and fully they are aware how to preach Buddha's teachings to the people. So, they have to take this Samneris have to take Upasampada. That is a kind of ceremony. Because many things have to be done, because many preparations we have to make for this Upasampada, because it is a kind of convocation, we say, as we get in we get a degree from the universities. It is the same way the Bhikku or Bhikkhuni get a degree through Upasampada ceremony, and they are given the right that they are now the teachers of spreading or teaching the Buddha's teaching to the people. So it is a ceremony. So it is said that for Upasak Upasika it is not ceremony, but it is a ceremony for becoming a bhikkhu or bhikkhuni. And that is called the Upasampada, not other thing. The Buddha here, now the Buddha converted those who, it is very clear here, many of the people say that people were coming to Buddha, and Buddha was convincing them to become bhikkhu or bhikkhuni or upasaka or upasika. But it is not so. It is very clear. People used to come to Buddha to seek or to become a upasak, upasika or bhikkhu or bhikkhuni. So it is, they used to come according to their wish, whether they want to become bhikkhu or bhikkhuni or they want to become upasak or upasikas. So it is said that it was never forcible by Buddha. There is a blame by many of the people nowadays that Buddha used to force people, and now also many bhikkhu and bhikkhunis force people to come to Buddhism. But it's not so. Buddhism doesn't believe in forcing anyone. Even the teachings of Buddha used to say, if you want to follow, you follow it. If you don't want to follow, it's on you whether to follow or not. So it was never, and till now it is not at all proper saying that people can force people to follow Buddhism, because it is each and every individual have to have the decision to follow it. Even forcefully, if we ask them, they have to do it, so we can't force of doing them. The next one is the other difference. It is said here, the upasak or upasika were having their own decision to become bhikkhu or bhikkhuni whenever they like. Means upasak and upasika have a right to become bhikkhu or bhikkhuni according to their wish and whenever they wanted to. And a bhikkhu had to cease to be a bhikkhu when he committed a breach of major vows. A person cannot be said that in Buddha's teaching never says that person cannot be upasaka and upasika because they are not following such and such rules. But for bhikkhu and bhikkhunis, it was there that whenever they were not following the rules according to the bhikkhu's vinaya or bhikkhunis vinaya, they were thrown out of the Sangha. Actually, the robes were taken off depending on the nature and severity of the crime. So, they were not allowed to be a bhikkhu or bhikkhunis if such crimes were committed. And the second thing was, even if bhikkhu and bhikkhuni wanted not to stay as bhikkhu and bhikkhuni in future, they had a right to leave the robes on their own. Means that too was not forcible. That if they have taken the robes, they have to be in robes forever. It was on them whether they want to continue or not to continue. So, these are the major differences of upasak upasikas and bhikkhu bhikkhunis. Here in this book, it is mentioned here that whatever names of bhikkhu bhikkhunis or upasak upasikas are mentioned in these books are not only they were there at the time of Buddha, but there were many. But these are included, the examples of these bhikkhu bhikkhunis or upasak upasikas as mentioned in this book, just to make people aware that Buddha's teaching was never discriminating any people, whether they were gender discrimination or any caste discrimination or whatever it is, no discrimination at all. Caste or sex, it is clearly written here. There was no caste discrimination and no sex discrimination. Therefore, in the Sangha, especially in the Sangha, so some examples are given in these books. Many of them must be knowing, but we'll go through it slowly. Now we'll start with the part 2, the conversion of Parivratikas. Before this, in part 2, part 1, we have gone through the conversion, where the first part it says that Buddha was very confused whether to preach or not to preach. And there the Buddha decides at the end of so much controversial dialogues and all the debates going in his mind, he takes a decision that he has to go and preach his knowledge to the people. And there it was also said that he has to plan how he would continue to preach. So while having that plan, he thinks and decide, we can say. He decided first, as we said, he decided to preach his doctrine, and then he thinks, whom shall he first teach his doctrine? Now this question arises again in his mind, and the one first name which comes in his mind is his teacher, the Arada Kalam. He thought that Alartha Kalam was very learned, very wise, intellectual, and one point, please understand here, and of little impurity. Actually, at that time, purity of mind was not given any importance according to the religion. Only Buddha was the first to talk on this, who says that purity of mind is important. Therefore, from his first thought itself, he thinks that there was very little impurity in his teacher, Arda Kalam, and so he wanted to start with him, to tell him that what he has got the knowledge and he want to teach that. But here it is written, he was told that Alar Kalam was dead. Many of the people say that Buddha has some supernatural power where he got to know that he is dead. It's not so. It's not supernatural power. Many of the people say that. But Buddha was very clear in saying that he was a human being who gained knowledge, and thus he went to ask, means he asked questions to the people, maybe to the people or some other one who are surrounding him or on the way, but it is said that he asked and he was told that Alar Kalam was dead. So he was not able to teach him. Second, then he remembered Uddaka Ramputta, he too was dead. But here I want to say one thing very important. Again, it is said that Buddha went to teach his mother Mahamaya after her death, to teach her Dhamma, to teach him his doctrine. This is said everywhere in the institution, in the universities and everywhere it is said. But from this example where Buddha says that he was not able to teach Arada Kalam and Uddakaramputra because they were dead, then how he taught Mahamaya after her death? That is another question. So we have to understand that too is a mixture of other things, superstitious things. They have mixed with the real teachings of Buddha and wanted to show that Buddha was somewhat a kind of person who has some supernatural powers. So we don't have to follow this, that he had supernatural power. Yes, he has that much of knowledge, the supreme knowledge. He was entitled and he was able to find out the way wherever there was a need to seek that help. Now, then he remembered the 5 old Parivrajikas, old companions of his who were with him at Niranjana. Because when he was doing that ostracism with Bhrigu Rishi, that time he was, these 5 Parivrajikas were helping him in many ways. He is very clear, Buddha is very thankful to them. We can find here that he says that they were helping him, they looked after him, they attended him, and they did much for him. Means the 5 Parivrajakas were having a very friendly relation with Buddha. With Siddhartha before becoming Buddha. And that time they were living near the river Niranjana before getting enlightenment. So he thinks that they were very angry. These 5 Parivrajakas became very angry after he abandoned austerities. Means he left that cup. You know what he was doing at that time, that not eating anything or not having any relation with other people out of the one who were doing austerities. So example is not here given, but we know that as soon as Siddhartha eat the poison given by Sujata, these 5 of them thought that now he has become impure. Means the definition of impurity for the people of that time and today also it is same. Everyone think of the impurity of the body, whereas the Buddha thinks of the impurity of the mind. So, because he talked to Sujata, he took food from Sujata, he smiled with Sujata. So it was like he has become impure. Siddhartha has become impure, and so now he is not eligible to do austerities, such kind of thing. These 5 Parivrajakas things, and they left him in anger. So Buddha says that whatever they had done, whether they left in anger they were angry with him and they left him, but he thought of giving his teachings, his doctrine to these 5 Parivrajikas, because he had some feelings for them. He was very thankful for them, and he finds out where they are at present. When he find out, he was learned that they were dwelling at Sarnath. Then he got to know that these 5 Parivrajaka's are in Sarnath, in the deer park of Isipatana. So he leaves from Buddha Gaya to Sarnath in search of them in the deer park of Isipatana. Now also we find this area there in Sarnath. Seeing the 5, when he nears them, he goes to near them, the 5 of the Parivrajaka think that Siddhartha is coming. They didn't know whether now he is an enlightened one or not. But after seeing him, the 5 decides, because they are very angry, they decide that no one will welcome him. And what are the procedures of welcoming someone? If someone wants to welcome other person, they say that because he has abandoned atrocities and has turned to life of abundance and luxury, he has committed a sin. They say it's not good thing to abandon austerities. But here, I want to bring to your notice about here, life of abundance and luxury. Now this luxury word is used. Did Buddha went for luxury or Siddhartha wanted luxury or he had luxury after eating paisam? No. But eating paisam was also a luxury according to them. So this point will come in later paragraph, but I want you to keep this in mind, this luxury word. And according to them, he had committed sin. So they say that they will not welcome him. The process of welcoming is like greeting. The second, rising in respect. The taking his bowl and robe. These are the 3 ways of welcoming a person. So they said they will not greet him, they will not rise in respect for him, and they will not take his bowl and robe. And even they will not give any water to wash the feet. This is another thing. And they said they will have a separate seat for him if he is coming without giving any importance, without giving any respect. They will have a seat for him. One asana would be there. He will come and sit. But they don't have to do anything for it. And all the 5 agreed to do the same. So, what happened later? As Buddha comes nearer and nearer to them, they forget what they had decided. Why they have forget? See, they have seen the robes, but they thought of other thing, not to respect him. But when he came nearer, there what they had agreed was just washed off from their mind. Why? It's not the robe that attracted him. Again, here we have to make the difference. Nowadays, people are attracted towards the robes. People see that, oh, someone is coming in robe. From very far away, they start showing their respect. They start showing their ways of respecting them because they are in robes. No, here it was not such a thing. Seeing robes of Buddha was also not an important thing for these 5 Parivrajaka. The important thing was his personality. The important thing was personality. And seeing the personality, what does personality includes? Personality includes the knowledge he had gained, which is shown from the face. The knowledge he had gained, which is shown by his walking, by his behavior, by his attitude. All these things are included in this personality. Nowadays, we never see this kind of things. We just see the robe, whether they are eligible for taking the robes or not. We just see the robe and we become flat in front of them. But here it's not so. We have to think how a bhikkhu or bhikkhuni should be. Just seeing a robe, you should not take any decision at all. So, seeing his personality, they rose from their seats. They were not able to stop themselves. They rose from their seats. One took his bowl, one took his robe, one prepared for the seat, and one brought water to wash his feet. Everyone did without planning, what they have to do. They have started doing everything for his welcome. One, someone is doing this, someone is doing that, and this way they welcomed it. And it is said that this was really a great welcome to an unwelcome guest. Means they did not want to welcome, but they did a great welcome. Just because they were very, what we can say, his personality made them think of it, and they just started doing without any time wasting. They greeted him. So this word I liked very much. Really a great welcome to an unwelcome guest. So here we say, this was the real welcome, and every bhikkhu or bhikkhuni also should get this kind of welcome, but they should be of that level that at least they have some pure mind. They should have following their vinayas. They are able to teach people or bring out people from sufferings. Now, after welcoming, the chapter 2 starts here. It was the first sermon of Buddha to these 5 Parivrajaka's. So, the first question was asked by these 5 Parivrajaka's, whether he still believed in asceticism or not. They knew that he left asceticism, but still they asked, somewhere in the mind it was there. Maybe he must have thought that he has done something wrong, so he should have continued for asceticism. So they ask him whether he believed in asceticism or not, and Buddha says no. We have to understand here again. Buddha did not believe in asceticism. Asceticism means tap or tapasya. He did not believe in. He did not believe in giving trouble to the body. He did not believe in giving hardship to the life without any reason. This is the one thing he denied. We have gone through it in book 1. Then he said what he gives. This is the first sermon, so we should know. Many of us don't know what really the Buddha's first teaching was, what he taught them. People know that is Dhamma, the first sermon. So they during this Vasa, this rainy retreat, it started in this full moon day of Ashad. That day, this kind of things, Sutta of Dhammacakkappavattana is recited in Buddha Vihara and many places, because that was the day when Buddha gave his first sermon to the 5 Parivrajakas, through which we can say that the first this Vasa started. It is called Varshavasa or Vasa. So this was the thing, and what he explained here. He said there are 2 extremes, a life of pleasure and a life of self-mortification. What is it? The first is the life of pleasure. Means we are happy in gaining pleasure in our life. That is one. That is extreme. For gaining this pleasure, we do everything which is not needed at all. We think of such kind of pleasure which are not needed in our life at all. And the other thing is self-mortification. Especially in Vasa, or the starting of this rainy retreat from Ashad full moon day, many people take Uposaka, where we have to confess our crime, but here people go for self-mortification. How? I will explain in a few words this one. Self-mortification at the time of Varshavasa, especially the women, those who are coming in Vihara, they say that after taking Ashtashil, they take food only one time, before 12 in the afternoon, before noon. They take food before noon. They say they don't have to take food in the evening. But they never thought that it is self-mortification. The second thing is, they never sleep on bed. They sleep on the ground. This is again self-mortification. Because sleeping on the ground in rainy season is a dangerous thing what we are doing, because in rain many kind of insects or other things come inside, because outside there is water. They come wherever you are sleeping, they come inside and they may harm you. That is one thing. The second thing is, because it's a rainy season, the ground where they are sleeping becomes very cold, and it may bring fever. It may result in fever, so they can suffer from fever, they can suffer from cold, they can suffer from cough. So these are the things which are the results of self-mortification, and they never think that it is self-mortification, and they say that we are following the teachings of Buddha. It's not as such. So life of self-mortification is again the extreme step taken by us at the time of especially rainy retreat or any full moon day or whatever it is. They do this kind of thing. Even they don't talk with their life partners. They say, no, because we have taken Ashtashil, so we should not talk with them. We should not have any physical relationship with them. So that is also a self-mortification. Because of this, many problems are created in the relationship. That is also a bad result of self-mortification. Even though they are not able to sit on the ground because of their knee pain, they never sit on the chair or any other place which is comfortable for them. That is also a kind of self-mortification. This is one thing, So these are the things of self-mortification. And the one who are not doing this self-mortification, they are the one who are not coming in the vihara, they are not coming, making use of this rainy retreat. many of them, they don't believe in rainy retreat. That is, they say, oh, what is there? Why we should go to Buddha Vihara? Why should we learn or have the knowledge, Because we are very well off in our family. We want to, because we don't get any spare time in the whole day we are working and we do not get rest. We don't get any spare time to take rest. We don't have spare time to have, even they don't talk, have good relations within the family, but still they are happy seeing the television or enjoying the parties and many other things they do that comes in pleasure. Even in rainy season, there is problem for food. See, in one place they are not eating at one time. In other place where they are enjoying the pleasure, they enjoy having very oily and very spicy food because they want to enjoy the party. They don't think that spicy and oily things in the rainy season will harm their body. So this is a kind of, again, extreme. So the middle path, and Baba Sahib has given that middle path through Buddhism, to the Buddha's teaching, saying that everyone should go to Buddha Vihara and should know the teachings of Buddha, to try to understand the teachings of Buddha. And in this rainy retreat, you should try to follow it yourself. It is a period of practice. Rainy retreat is a period of practice, gaining the knowledge, understanding the knowledge, and trying to analyze yourself and do it according to the teachings. So this middle path is never thought of. Very few people are there who are doing it, but most of them, those who are coming in Buddha Vihara, they are following self-mortification. It is, I explained it all, it is given here. Some want to eat and drink because they will die, and some do this desire. They don't want to fulfill this desire, like self-mortification. They are very worried that there would be a rebirth. So he rejected both as unbecoming to man. So it is called the Madhyam Marg. No pleasure, no path of self-mortification. Now he questions Parivrajaka's. He asks them, answer me this. So long as your self remains active and continues to lust after earlier worldly or heavenly pleasure, is not all mortification in vain? Means whatever you are thinking about yourself, you are not coming out of yourself. Means even though you are living this pleasure, your self-mortification is of no use unless yourself is with you. So, what is important here is giving importance to self, whether in mortification or in pleasure. How can, and they answer, yes, it is in vain. Now the next question, how can they be free from self by leading a wretched life of self-mortification if they do not thereby succeed in quenching the fires of lust? The first was mortification, pleasure, and the second is of mortification. So, again, the self is there. Even for our moksha we say, the self-mortification is for the moksha, the want of moksha. For whose moksha? For our self-moksha. We are giving importance to ourselves for this moksha. So, that is also true. Only when the self in A has been conquered, and ye are free from lust, ye will then not desire worldly pleasure, and the satisfaction of your natural wants will not defile ye. Let ye eat and drink according to the needs of your body. So what is that? Give importance to your body according to the need. Don't give much importance or don't avoid at all. You have to give importance to your body because you are living. And for living as a life, you have to fulfill the needs of the body, and that has to be done. This comes in middle part. Sensuality of all kinds is enervating. The sensual man is a slave of his passion because something they have in the mind. They have a passion for something. All pleasure seeking is degrading and vulgar. But I say unto you that to satisfy the needs of life is not an evil. Means you have to satisfy what is the need of the body. That is not evil. That is not sin. You have to do it. Why do you have to do it? To keep the body in good health. Because if you want to live a good life, you have to keep your body healthy. That is your duty towards your body. To keeping body in good health is the duty towards keeping it in good health. Or otherwise you shall not be able to keep your mind strong and clear and have the lamp of wisdom burning. Because if you are a living being, if you are a person who is having a life, for this life, not only the body has to be healthy, but mind also has to be strong. And to keep the mind strong, we have to keep the body healthy. And this healthy body will keep your mind strong. And if your mind is strong, you will live a life full of wisdom. Means you will know how to live your good life. That is life. It is given the name lamp of wisdom burning. It has to be there. Wisdom has to be there. Without wisdom, not only knowledge, but after knowledge we have to have the wisdom. And this knowledge will allow you to keep your body healthy, keep your mind strong, and your strong mind will help to have wisdom in your life. Now, O Paravrajakas, that there are these two extremes which can ought not to follow. So here he explains them that you have to avoid both the two extremes. And this is said, this is called the middle path which avoids both extremes. The five Parivarajakas listened to him with attention, not knowing what to say because they did not have any reply. Buddha has explained in such a way that there was no doubt at all. This is how the teachings should be. There should be no doubt at all. Then the Buddha told them how to. They asked him, what did he do? After they left him, he said, he sat in contemplation under the banyan tree. What he said? That he sat in contemplation under the banyan tree, and after 4 weeks of contemplation, he obtained enlightenment, as a result of which he was able to discover his new path. Then he told that after taking the paisam from Sujata and how he sat for 4 weeks under a tree, he meditated there. The word is used contemplation, And here he got enlightened and got a new path of life. After hearing this, they became very impatient. They were very eager to know what was the new path. Although he had told about the two extremes, but still they wanted to know it in detail. So, what the new path was? There are some few points here which is explained. Three important points are coming here. He began by saying that his path, which is his Dhamma, had nothing to do with God and soul. This is the first point. His new path had nothing to do with God and soul. So everyone listening should think whether they believe in God or soul. Whether you believe or not, that is not a question. But the Buddha's teaching is not based on God and soul, that you have to understand. So, just keep it in mind, there won't be anything about God and soul in Buddha's teachings. That's the first. The second, he says, his Dhamma had nothing to do with life after death. His teachings are only between the birth and death, not after life or after death. You know, this is very important thing which Buddha gave his teachings. He never talks of life after death. Means in teachings, he talks on that, but not about his teachings. He tells what, when we come to the chapter of rebirth, we'll get to know what it is. But his teaching does not include anything which will help during this life, during this lifetime, that is from birth to death. That is the second point. Nor has his Dhamma any concern with rituals and ceremonies. Now Buddha is very clear again. Rituals and ceremonies, that is according to the traditions. And Buddha did not believe in any rituals and ceremonies. Teachings are teachings. Teachings cannot be any rituals. Teachings cannot be any ceremonies. So teachings are to be understood so that you can follow in your life. It is not by doing some rituals or ceremonies you will get to know how your life would be. You can live a happy or peaceful life. The rituals and ceremonies won't decide. It is the teachings of the Buddha, if you understand and follow it, will show you the results. Rituals and ceremonies won't. So this is the third point. So these 3 points we have to understand if you want to follow Buddha's teachings. Means no God and soul, no life after death, and no rituals and ceremonies. If these 3 points are clear in your mind, you can become a good Buddhist. Now, the fourth point, instead of point I can say, the other thing what Buddha says that this center of Dhamma is man. Means it is not for other living beings as animals or birds or insects or trees, whatever it is. Dhamma is only for human beings. Why? Because the center is again the mind. So, and this Dhamma is related to man because man has a relationship with another man. If there is no relationship, there is no Dhamma. No need of Dhamma. But because you have to have relationship with other person, you have to maintain something. To maintain this relationship, you have to follow some rules. So this is Dhamma. So the center is man. He said this is his first postulate. That is the first demand of his teachings. Everyone should understand. this is the first demand of his teaching, then only his teachings would be very clearly understood by others. I think the second postulate we can start it in next class, because it's continuation, the third chapter and all, third, fourth, fifth chapter is there. So I think that I should stop here.
Okay.
We have completed the first postulation, and we have to see ourselves, analyze yourself whether you are really following the Buddha on these 3 points. Just let me know through your messages in the group.
Okay.
I would be happy to understand, to know that everyone is following this. Okay? Thank you, Jai Bhim, Namo Buddhaya.
Pante, question.
If any questions?
Yes, Pante.
Yeah.
Abhi, there is any Upasant ceremonies going on, Pante, at the present? That Upasant ceremony.
Upasampada ceremony, just we have finished in Feb this year.
So now we are following.
Yeah. Because we have to have that Sima and all, boundaries for that. And some that rituals, what we say, that is not actually rituals, that are the precepts which we follow. There some rules we have to follow. We take the oath there. These are the kind of rituals, like what we have to follow in our life. Like 10 days we have the training on Vinaya and all. So for Bhikkhuni Sangha I can say yes, because we have finished 14 Upasampada in Bhikkhuni Sangha.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Pante, the other question.
Pardon?
One more question, Pante.
Yeah, please.
That Sangham, Pante. Sangham. Before Buddha, in Indian culture, they are maintaining Sangham, no? That is the Sangham culture is only in North or old India.
Actually, we can say as a Sangha, a system which Buddha has formed at that time as a Sangha, because he set some rules for the Sangha. Therefore, it was a very systematic and formulated Sangha. Earlier, it was not with system or something. Everyone was following according to the rules given in their Vedas and whatever it is. So it was like with ceremonies and rituals, and even the teachings, the practice was different. But it was, some difference was there, that was about the purity and impurity of mind. Purity in the life, how they were righteous or not. We will come in this next next session. We'll go through this. So there was different. Sangha as such, by the name Sangha, it is not known till now. Maybe there must be, but I'm not known about it, because there were sadhvis and also some people living in with Mahavira,
Yes.
Whether they were living in Sangha or not, I think they were living in Sangha. But this kind of system what Buddha had, like punishment and crime and punishment and all, this kind of thing was not there, because everything, decision was taken by the Sangha.
Yes,
Yes,
because
yeah.
that's why.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yes, Pante. One more question, Pante.
Okay, Bharti, you have many questions with you.
Yes, Pante. That soul and after the life of death. The three kind of things. Who's the founder? Who teach the society? that three kind of life.
We can't say who are the, because it's from traditions, it's going on. We say that it is from the Vedas and all, it has come, because before the Brahmin came here and all these Vedas were followed, it was in India, the nature was worshipped. Yes, it was not the God and soul, but the nature was worshipped. Okay. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Jai Bhim. Any no more questions?
No, Bhante.
Okay, thank you. Then may I leave?
Yes, Bhante. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.